Let me teach you how to play Emma Frost so you don't throw all your ranked games in Season 2. Emma is an absolutely insane anti-dive brawl tank.
Did you even train for this?
But before we dive into combos, let me explain how everything works. Emma's left click is a laser that reaches 15 meters. This laser will deal more damage the longer that it charges up. So the more damage you deal with it, the more damage it'll do overall. Emma's laser will pretty much charge on everything, but for some reason it doesn't charge up on Groot walls. I guess they learned that mistake from Wolverine, but it'll charge up on like every other shield and every other piece of equipment you can think of. Once it hits 100 charge, it does double damage, as you can see here by this noise. And at that point, it's insane. So right there, you saw me pull a crystal out of Groot, and that's called Psychic Spear. When you do this, you can actually attack this crystal and the enemy actually at the same time. It's the only time this laser will actually go through two objects. Otherwise, it always connects with just one. And it'll deal damage to the person, but when it pops, it does a ton of damage. The crystal will actually scale with the enemy's HP at the time that you've used it. So if you're doing it to a tank, it'll actually chunk them, but it'll be harder to take down unless you have that 100% charge on your laser. But if this distance breaks 15 meters, if it goes to 15 meters, it will immediately disappear. So try to deal damage to it as fast as possible, or in a situation that the enemy can't really escape. On her right click is her Mind's Aegis shield. This shield is really good for keeping her alive. It's really all she has besides her damage reduction from diamond form. This ability is your lifeline. You need to understand how important it is, and I'll talk about that shortly. But you can actually place this at any range. Just note, the shield is not activated and it will not take damage until you release it and it sets up and has that little animation. Once you see that animation, it'll then start taking damage, so you can't just use it non-stop and holding it to take space with. It has 500 HP, but like I said, you really want to keep it selfishly because you need to be keeping yourself in the fight. Remove the barrier whenever you're not using it, because if you find out that you've already had it placed somewhere and you replace it again and it has no HP, you're doing nothing but hurting yourself. So you need to make sure once you're done with the shield, or once it takes a bit of damage, you retrieve, pull it back, and make sure that you trade some life before you put it back out again. Let's talk about diamond form. When you enter diamond form, you have 8 seconds and you get roughly 30% damage reduction from everything. When in diamond form, you are completely CC immune from everything, as you can see by the gold around your HP bar at the bottom. This is an incredibly useful thing to know because you can just stop ultimates like Doctor Strange just by going in diamond. Diamond form is your anti-dive, because whenever you see someone coming in or somebody using ultimate, you can actually stun them with your choke slam. Emma's choke slam is incredibly useful on literally everything, but it can also shut down a ton of ultimates, including things like Spider-Man, Wanda, Doctor Strange, etc. Can I tackle out of this? I can! Ah!
Don't mess with the amazing spider!
He's not doing it anymore. Emma's choke slam can reach just over 5 meters. This is important to note because it's your only dash on your kit if you need to somehow get to height in a very fast window. But getting rid of that chokeslam cooldown is a very valuable cooldown, so make sure you understand that. Probably the most satisfying ability in the entire game. Can't speak highly enough about it. It is so much fun to use. And then following that up by kicking them into a wall, especially if they're a 250, 300 HP target, they are in so much trouble. Your right click, which is your kick, you'll actually deal more damage if it rails the enemy into a wall. So if you see an opportunity to knock somebody off the map, or if they're close to a wall, or if it's a bunch of them close to a wall, don't be afraid to send them all into that wall to do a ton of burst damage. Your choke will always pull them directly behind you, so make sure you reposition. That being said, if you want to min-max, I would highly suggest you choke, get 2 melees in, and then kick them into a wall. Now let's get into some major tips with Emma Frost that you need to know. When you're dancing around with Emma, you should always be left clicking, always. Like I mentioned, that shield is your lifeline. Using that to get some more damage to build up that charge on your left click, trying to get it to 100% so you can be very threatening at all times. Don't be afraid to put it out for a while, don't let it break, and then soak some damage and trade some damage before you put the shield out again. Constantly using that left click and getting it to 100% is very impactful because it's just so threatening when you're able to pop that crystal out and melt it immediately to deal a ton of damage. Emma's diamond mode is really good for shutting down dive. If you see a Spider-Man coming in and you're able to land that dive on them, that choke slam, and then follow it up with any sort of kick into any structure, there's no way that person is escaping. You can shut things down like Spider-Man, Wanda, Iron Fist, Psylocke, Panther, Magic, and even Wolverine with ease if you do it properly. Now let's talk about Emma's ultimate Psionic Seduction before we move into the best combos. Emma's ultimate Psionic Seduction is a giant AoE ability that'll constantly deal tick damage, but also will force the enemy, once the crystal is full, to walk at you for 2 seconds. It reaches just over 25 meters, and you can see here, once that crystal's built above their head, they just start walking directly in my direction for 2 seconds. This ability will not affect people that are CC immune, obviously. The main note for this ability is that it has a pretty long duration. It forces everyone to look at you, and it does some pretty good damage over time. If it does get that lockdown where it forces enemies to walk towards you, it's really good for your team to follow up, as it's essentially just a 2-second stun. Note, this ability will not go through any shield, and it's very difficult to find value, and things like Cap are going to be really good against it, because he can shield and dash around, so he's able to reposition and get your focus while you don't really do anything to him. It's also going to be difficult against Strange and Magneto when they can pop those shields up, but Magneto's shield is significantly shorter, so I find that Strange and Cap are going to be much better against it. I don't anticipate this ultimate being insane. Instead, it's just a really good tool to try to find 1 or 2 picks, or if you see somebody that's vulnerable, just capitalize and use the ultimate to force them to walk towards you and get that free pick. The fastest way to deal damage on Frost is to pull out the enemy's crystal and then go melee form, hitting both at the same time. This is obviously very situational, but it is the best way to deal damage. Very situational, but it is the best way to deal damage. That being said, what I mentioned to you is you should always be using this laser beam, trying to get it to 100%. So my best advice is to go laser form as much as possible and save your diamond form to help peel your backline and destroy divers and brawlers. Focusing on keeping yourself up, using this shield management effectively, and building this laser and getting ready to use your psychic spear is the best way to play Emma. Take my word for it. I'm going to be playing Emma the entire season 2 release, so drop over and say what's up. I'm probably live right now. I'd appreciate y'all coming over. Likes, follows, shares, comments, all that stuff means the world to me, and I'll see you in the next one.
Spider-Man, you suck!
Oh my goodness, chat. It's surely not like this. Oh. Nice.
It's slightly better.
I just fucked that dude up, chat. No! No! Oh, great ult. You guys are actually insane. What the? Okay. Burn it.
Your powers are mine!
Unique, unique, unique. Oh, ho, ho. Chill on him, Huntress. Jet. He wants me. Oh, not anymore, don't. Yo soy Dami Mami. Insane work. As a squad, it's actually gross.
Going Punisher
Shut
and
up,
play
actually
test
might be.
That's gotta be a strat.
Actually might be her, to be honest. I love this character with a passion. Oh my god, Sir Angel!
Fun.
Huntress. She's insane.
Is Amplifier defense alt now? Yeah. Are the Strange nerf bad? He's not nearly as good.
Get him up there. Yes, Strange. Get in here. Yes, you're mine.
Jeffrey Bezos? What?
Emma Frost
Half of
never
Amazon? I don't
surrenders.
need that. I will take it though. Okay. All right. All right. Tell her I said hi. I won't be sending that picture. It's got to stay in my pants.